Hello, nerds! Thank you for joining me here on Nerd News Clips. This is the second channel. This is the place for all of the short form content as well as the individual sections and just generally speaking smaller things. If you are into the longer form content, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to go see that. With that out of the way, let's get into this. Let's talk about comic books and books, shall we? All right, so follow-ups. We don't normally have follow-ups at all in this section, and we've got two. So like I said, follow-ups are just going a little crazy. Both of the follow-ups are talking about releases of books that we've been talking about. So first up on that list is Alien #1, out now, not doing as well as I had hoped on the reviews. I have yet to be able to read it myself, but Phillip Kennedy Johnson is the writer, Julius Ohta is the artist, and Nitro is the colorist, and it looks fantastic. And some of the reviews are definitely pretty good, but again, not across the board. So definitely intrigued. If you've read it, let's talk about it because I want to know how good it is, and I'm not going to be able to get to the comic book store very soon. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. And the next we're talking about Batman Spawn #1, also out. So far, so good on this one. Todd McFarlane and Greg Capullo doing a good job. Interesting twist on this story in that it's mostly a Batman story, it would seem. Again, haven't been able to read it just yet, but mostly a Batman story where the Court of Owls have somehow wrangled Spawn into becoming their tool for the destruction of Batman, and that just has me super intrigued. So once again, if you've read this book, if you're down for the Spawn versus Batman, let's talk about that in the description because I'm very intrigued by this book. Love Greg Capullo. Also, obviously love Todd McFarlane, so the combination of the two has got to be awesome, right? All right, so that's what we've got there. Let's talk about actual news. We have a new imprint over at DC. Dogu Publishing is Stan Sakai, who is the creator of Usagi Yojimbo, not DC, Dark Horse. I can read, has created a new comic book imprint as the home for all things Usagi Yojimbo over at Dark Horse. This sounds awesome. Right now, IDW still has the primary rights for the main story, but those are about to expire. So once they expire, they revert back to him, and then he's going to be putting out everything new for Usagi once again on his imprint, Dogu Publishing, as an underneath, the Dark Horse label. So super awesome there. And then we have a new Hush story for the Batman that I just couldn't walk past in my research. This new Hush story is going to be from Jim Lee and the immortal Jeph Loeb. With the passing of Tim Sale, Jim Lee has some big shoes to fill if he's going to be teaming up with Jeph Loeb, because again, probably one of the greatest Batman duos ever is those two. So again, Jim Lee writing this book, Jeph Loeb doing the art. This is the 20th anniversary edition of the original story. It's going to feature a bunch of new works. It's also going to feature a new side story that I believe happens at the end of the book. It's going to be released on October 18th. I'm super stoked because, again, I love Jeph Loeb. Jim Lee, yeah, I'm all right with Jim. All right, so that's what we got on that one. So that brings us to the end of comic books and books, except for the suggestion for books this week. I'm going super old school on you guys because Foundation Season 2 on Apple TV Plus is around the corner. So if you have not read the books that inspired the show, you absolutely need to. Foundation by Isaac Asimov. The first book is actually super duper short. You should be able to read it in an afternoon or two. So it's a simple read. The original trilogy is second to none, and all of the expansions that have happened since then have just made that mythology richer and deeper and so much more enjoyable. You should absolutely dive into Foundation by Isaac Asimov. Once again, this has been just a brief segment from the larger episode that has been posted over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go over there for the long form content, or just subscribe here if you want it in bite-sized chunks. Thank you very much for joining me, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.